My name is Sophie. I'm 25, and I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. A few days ago, I experienced something at Walmart that I still can't shake. It was supposed to be a simple trip just running errands like I always do, but I left that store with a memory that haunts me. I'd gone to Walmart in the early afternoon, looking for some groceries and maybe a new outfit. I wasn't expecting to buy clothes, but as I passed by the women's section, a few shirts caught my eye. I grabbed them and made my way to the fitting rooms in the back corner of the store, where it's usually quieter. When I got there, most of the fitting room stalls were closed except for the one at the far end, so I headed for it. As I stepped inside and closed the door, I noticed a pair of shoes in the stall next to mine. They were dark, worn-out sneakers, just sitting there. I didn't hear any movement or sounds from that stall, but I figured someone was just standing still, maybe taking their time trying on clothes. I started trying on the shirts I picked out, checking myself in the mirror, but I kept noticing a weird smell. At first, I thought it was coming from the fitting room itself. Those small spaces can get musty sometimes, but as I stood there, it got worse. It was this heavy, stale odor that reminded me of something rotten mixed with sweat. I couldn't focus on the clothes anymore because the smell was really bothering me. I wondered if the person next door was in there too long, maybe sweating or something. I glanced down at the shoes again. They hadn't moved since I came in, which seemed odd. Usually, you'd hear some noise, rustling, shuffling, anything, but it was completely silent. At this point, I started feeling uneasy. Something didn't feel right, and the smell was making me nauseous. I wanted to get out of there quickly, but my curiosity got the better of me. I crouched down just a bit, peeking under the partition to see what was going on in the next stall. I could only see the shoes still in the same spot, facing the door. Whoever was in there wasn't moving at all. My heart started racing. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself that maybe they were just standing still, maybe waiting for someone. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I hurried to finish trying on the last shirt and got dressed. Before I left the fitting room, I took one last glance under the partition. The shoes were still there, completely unmoving. I could feel my chest tighten with anxiety, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I just left. As I walked away, I glanced back a few times, but nothing changed. I told myself to forget about it and went to the checkout line. For the rest of the afternoon, I couldn't stop thinking about those shoes. I couldn't get the smell out of my mind either. It was almost like it had followed me out of the fitting room. I kept wondering if I should have said something. But what could I have said? "Excuse me, but someone's shoes didn't move for 10 minutes? It felt ridiculous, so I pushed the thought away. Later that night, I was scrolling through my phone when a local news alert popped up. "Body found in Walmart fitting room," the headline read. My stomach dropped as I clicked on the article. It was the same Walmart I'd been at earlier that day. The report said that a store employee had found the body in the fitting room after it had been there for hours. The person had committed suicide, and no one had noticed until much later. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the truth. The person in the stall next to me hadn't just been standing still. They were already dead. The smell, the silence, it all made sense now. I had been inches away from a dead body, and I had no idea. I sat there in shock, replaying the entire experience in my mind. I had been so close to them, and I didn't even realize. The guilt crept in quickly. Should I have done something? Could I have helped them if I had spoken up sooner? That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those shoes, frozen in place. The smell haunted me, sticking in my memory like a stain I couldn't scrub away. The feeling of dread wouldn't leave, and I couldn't stop imagining what I would have seen if I had peeked further under the partition. The thought made my skin crawl. Even now, days later, I can't walk into a fitting room without feeling a wave of anxiety. I keep thinking about how close I had been to something so tragic, and I didn't even know. That day changed me. I'll never forget those shoes, or the realization that death was right there, just inches away from me.